Hey guys, how's it going? Azoh here. So today I wanted to talk about the forum post Riot made that has caused quite a stir, as it implies that there will be no solo queue, despite them saying it would be released just 2 weeks after dynamic queue. Honestly, I don't think everyone would be this upset if they just straight up said, we're scrapping solo queue and working on dynamic queue, and then if dynamic queue was a complete disaster, they would just switch it back. Now, I'm no fan of dynamic queue personally, but I completely understand why they want it, and as a company, it's not unreasonable at all. They should pander to the largest audience, and this is by far the casual players. And for casual players, dynamic queue is great. Less toxic people, you can play with any number of friends, and if you do play with friends, you almost always get your role, and it's always usually more fun to play with friends, etc. But for high elo, or at least like Diamond 1 and above, and you'll debate me on what's high elo and what isn't, that's fine, just let me know in the comments. The system completely falls flat. Not just the fact that me and 4 random solo players played against Gambit the other day, but also the fact that to not have more than 50-minute queue times, secondary and primary roles are exactly the same, except in one specific circumstance, where someone has 80 carry mid while you have mid 80 carry. Then it matters. But I shouldn't have to pick my secondary role tactically to try to get my primary, as in I shouldn't have to think, hey, what role do I think more people play? To try to pick that as secondary and sleaze my way into my primary? Believe it or not, I kinda like supporting, but fuck me am I never queuing as support if I want mid. Part of this is just champion select though, and in the very same post they did mention that they were working on it, so I'm not going to try to incite any pitchfork storms. I would survive with them not releasing solo queue, especially with these issues I presented were fixed, but I would much rather prefer they do release it, as there is less legitimacy in your rank currently. I have played almost exclusively solo in dynamic queue, and I got to master tier 250 LP with it. There was the occasional duo and 3-man, and in the earlier days some 5-mans, but in master tier I was solo. Now that achievement is vastly diminished by the fact that I might as well have been queuing with friends on their smurfs and gotten carried. A solo queue rank would be something that couldn't be bullshitted around, and it's also a place where your individual mechanics are the key focus, which is why it was always so popular. It bred a lot of the great talent that we have in professional play today. Also, side note, I think it's complete bullshit that some people are saying there was no teamwork in old solo queue and oh, this is a team game so dynamic queue focuses on that. There has always been teamwork in solo queue, and relying on that to climb is absolutely fair. Using that as an argument for dynamic queue is pretty weak. Okay, so say hypothetically they were to release solo queue tomorrow. The problematic part about that, and I think a lot of people were thinking about this when they did say they were going to make solo queue as well, is that this is going to kinda screw up dynamic queue a little bit. The issue is, if there's a solo queue, why would you solo queue into dynamic queue, where the rank doesn't matter as much, right? This means the 4-man pre-mates in dynamic queue are going to have to wait a long time in like any elo. Now imagine the 4-man dynamic queues in high elo. Currently my queue times as a solo player in master tier is anything between 5 to 15 minutes. If there was a solo queue on top of that, that would be a very long queue time. Now the people at Riot, they're pretty smart, so they probably already thought about this in the first place, which is why there's a lot of tinfoil like, they never want to give us solo queue in the first place, But in the end, I will survive with dynamic queue, I'll survive with dynamic queue and solo queue, and I will survive with only solo queue. I will not survive if all this flame makes Riot want to terminate League of Legends. Unlikely. But, you know. In the end, I implore you all to read up on the situation, make your own opinion, and not just be influenced by what people are saying, myself included. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.